kayak bergemuruh gitu ya.
Oh, Bu Wiga kayaknya gitu.
Oke, ganti.
Oh, yeah, ma'am. Bunyi apa, ma'am? I'm
Eh,
trying to make my room silent, but
yeah,
Oh
where
ya,
are you?
it's good
Are you
now.
now
I'm in a room, ma'am.
in a
It's good
room?
now. Okay, good, ma'am.
Oke.
In your in at school? At school or
No, actually, I'm in a hotel, ma'am.
oh, you're
I'm
in a
following
hotel.
my husband working.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah,
really?
yeah, that's good.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, take your time.
What a lifestyle. Sure. Thank you, thank you. But I need to take an exam in the
Okay.
Okay.
middle of a holiday.
For
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
Thank you,
for
thank
good.
you.
Hmm.
it's a good idea to have it. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ibu Wigati. Ya, welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Ini saya pakai bahasa Indonesia dulu. Ya, nanti
Yes,
terserah
ma'am.
kamu saja kalau bahasa Inggris boleh dijawab ya. Tapi saya
Okay, ma'am.
kok ada yang bergemuruh gitu ya. Oke. So we start this. Nah, yang
I'm fine.
apa ya?
Kayaknya sih kalau di saya sih
Oh,
oke sih. Coba Bu Wiga say something like
cek cek.
cek cek cek
No.
cok. No.
Aku.
No, nothing. Kayaknya nggak apa-apa sih.
Ah,
Coba Bu Ar, coba Ibu Bu Ar ngomong sekarang.
Halo,
Nggak ada
halo.
apa-apa tuh. Berarti kalau Ibu masih mendengar, kalau Bu Ar masih mendengar buzzing zzz, gitu, berarti itu dari setnya Bu Ar. Ya, Ti. Coba coloknya cabut dulu, masukin lagi. Mungkin kadang-kadang keganjel dikit. Jadi zzz, we have buzzing sound, right?
Oke, sudah ya.
Sudah, Bu? Fine.
Iya.
Good.
Oke, ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Benar.
Hello.
Halo.
Are you okay
Halo, ma'am.
now?
Yes,
Hello.
I am.
Are you
Yes,
ready?
ma'am. Yes, I
Are
am
you
ready,
ready?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So saya basmalah first.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Ya, Ibu, ini kalau untuk dari saya, itu kan kemarin Anda sudah upload ya, tadi malam sudah upload rencana pelaksanaan ya pembelajaran yang tertuang di dalam perangkat RPP, itu sudah ya. Sudah,
Yeah.
kemudian yang dipilih untuk kelas berapa ini, Bu?
Kelas 11, ma'am.
Kelas 11, oke. Kelas 11, kemudian materinya, what is the material?
Business letter. Business letter.
Is it the same with what is it for teaching?
Yes, it is the same modul aja, ma'am.
Oh, ini yang dibahas masalah modul ajar berarti ya?
Yes.
Oke, ini modul ajar Pak Willy, jadi nanti agak berbeda dengan yang tadi ya?
Iya. Sure.
Ya, ini untuk modul ajar dikembangkan dari identifikasi masalah ya Bu ya?
Oke, ma'am.
Coba diceritakan mengapa memilih model pembelajaran tersebut dari awal, identifikasinya seperti apa, cara mengidentifikasi, kemudian sampai Anda menemukan metodenya.
Oke, baik, ma'am. So, pakai bahasa Indonesia or English, ma'am?
You can speak Italian. Okay?
Yeah.
Italian. I'm so sorry, I can't.
Yeah. If you want to speak English, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So at first I observed doing reflection and also did some interviews to my partners in teaching and also some of my students. And during my reflection, I can see that one of the difficulties that my student face was reading comprehension, ma'am. So they got difficulties when they get a long text and it is really difficult for them to understand, especially when they do reading comprehension text. So therefore, I figure out the cause of the problem. It is maybe because I didn't really teach them the strategy to read effectively. They just read and try to find themselves the information inside the text. Therefore, I figure out I try to find out the solution by doing some literature research, literature study, and then I found that there are several reading strategies, and in that module Ajar, I use one of strategy that I think will fit my student, which is generating question. As you can see in my module Ajar there, I use generating question as one of the strategy to help my student comprehend a text, especially when the text is boring, long, or something that is not familiar for my students, like business letter. Business letter is one of the material that uh, I teach in the 11th graders. So there I found out that it fits the materials, and also the strategy also fits the characters of my student. That's why I choose uh, that strategy to cope with the problem, ma'am. Something like that, ma'am.
Yeah. So we try to talk about it one by one. So the
Yes.
problems that you identified in your classes was dealing with
Reading comprehension.
yeah,
Yeah.
reading comprehension. And then how did you identify the problem?
I identify by doing reflection, ma'am. So I try to figure out myself, brush up my mind about what I have been doing in my teaching, and then I also
You just think. You just think about what you've done.
and also checking on what is it like the previous test, something like that, ma'am. Why when it comes to reading comprehension, my students got difficulties. And then I also asked other teachers. They also said that yes, student got difficulties when what is it when student face very long and difficult text, something like that. And then I also did interviews to around 20 students, ma'am,
20.
randomly. Um, 20,
Did you
20,
say
sir.
20 but randomly? So how many students do you have? 20 but randomly.
I
That's a big number. Wakeh banget.
yeah, I teach 6 classes, sir.
Wow.
Six
So
classes.
you interview like individually 20 students.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did a survey first.
Survey,
A
yeah.
survey. Yeah, I did survey using Google Form, and then I also asked. Yeah, I asked 20 actually, sir.
20.
5 each, 3 to 5 each class, something
I
like that.
wonder how long does it take to have like 20 students
It,
interview. Wow.
it didn't take too long, I think. I
Okay.
mean, I just asked like, do you think reading is difficult?
All right.
Do you think you got
Okay.
difficulty in reading? Something like that. So it
Okay.
didn't take that long time. Yeah, so I find out that yes, it is really the problem. So that's how I found the problem, Ma'am.
Okay, so and then you try to identify the problems, and then
Yes.
you found the problem. I think, yeah, you found the
Yes.
problem first, and then you identified the problems, and then okay. So, but I'm wondering why why did you ask your colleague here to about the teaching learning process? Why don't you invite your colleague here to come into your classroom and then observing the way how you teach students?
When I ask my colleagues, because I want to make sure whether this also happened to their class or not, ma'am. Something like that, just to confirm. So, in fact, yeah, generally, yes, it happens to a lot of students in many classes in my school. So that's my purpose actually.
So when identifying the causes of the problem, of course, you do not need to ask your friends, yeah, your colleagues to discuss the problems. Of course, yeah, they can be invited to your class and then to find because okay. So my question is: suppose that you and your friends here are teaching in different classes, or
Yes,
they are teaching the same subject but in different
yes.
classes. And then how's about the problems appeared? The problem the
Might be
same or
different. Yeah.
different?
Might be different,
Yeah,
ma'am.
might be different. Okay.
Yes.
What are the causes? What are the causes of the problem?
The causes of the problem. Okay, for when I was looking for the causes of the problem, I also did like what have been suggested by the lecturer at that session, ma'am, that I need to do studying some literature and also doing interview. So I also basically I did interview directly with the students, ma'am, because I think because they are the objects.
Yeah.
So I asked them about do you think reading is difficult and why is it difficult? Many of them said uh, like I just read and suddenly get lost and I need to repeat it again and again and I didn't find the answer of the question, something like this. So basically, I figure out probably this is the strategy that become the problem. And then I also check uh, in some journals, ma'am, and it's also that reading comprehension also is also a problem from a lot of people actually. I also find it difficult sometimes when I did TOEFL or TOEIC, something like that. And yes, actually there are a lot of strategies. And then I think maybe it is because we do not know the strategy to read effectively, something like that, ma'am. And then yes, based on several studies, that strategy is really important to make a reader focus on the reading in order to get their purpose or information that they want to get. That's why I think it is about the strategy because uh, I thought I also didn't focus on strategy while teaching reading comprehension, ma'am. I was, I just focused on the text, telling about what the text is, the function, general structure, and etc. But when it comes to the real text, it it quite it is quite difficult for the student because probably the text is new or strange or something like that. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am R is
Sorry.
mute.
Okay.
Yes.
So after identifying the problems, and then you explored, you explored the causes of the problems, and then the next part here is to find the solution to the problems that you found. Okay. So how can you tell me about the steps to determine the solutions to cope with the problems?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, okay, I remember at that time I tried to figure out several alternative solutions, and also the alternative solution also based on the cause of the problem, right, ma'am? So maybe my student were also lack of vocabulary or something like that. But I think my students are average, so they have quite good vocabulary. And then uh, when it comes to what is it more about strategy, then I find out the solution by searching as many references as possible about reading strategy, ma'am, by mostly from the literature, from journal. So there are a lot like summarizing, like using prior knowledge and scanning, like something predicting, something like that, ma'am. But then I try to choose one of those strategy which is the most effective and most practical, I think. So so that I can what is it? I can manifest that strategy into very clear and very clear and easy to follow instruction, and I come up with that generating questions because I think generating question is quite easy to be understood by my student. Like the step is quite easy. First, you have to think about the question about information you want to know, and then something like that, ma'am. For summarizing, probably it. What is it? For summarizing, I think maybe it can be an effective solution, but then it just for general information or for general information for the text, not for specific. So that's why in the end I choose the best strategy, which is generating question. Something like that, ma'am.
Okay, so what is the model that you choose to solve the problem?
Okay.
And also the
The
method.
model, yeah, for this material, I chose problem-based learning, ma'am. Problem-based.
Okay.
Problem-based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I
What?
need to defend the reason?
Yes, of course.
Okay, ma'am. Because reading comprehension is the main focus, so it means it is about cognitive skill. It doesn't always need a product to produce. So I think project-based learning doesn't really fit this situation, ma'am. So I use problem-based, which is more fit for reading comprehension skill, and then uh, also problem-based learning also requires a lot of cognitive skills, and it fits the requirements of studying right now, which is we should include high order thinking skill. That's why I chose problem-based.
Okay. So how about, can you give me an examples of high order thinking skills? Yeah. In what aspects, for example, in what phase, in what
Okay.
level, for example, in what year?
Yes, I think the very first step of generating question is already high order thinking skill, which is questioning them. So questioning, also analyzing, I think it's includes in high order thinking skill. So yes, they have to figure out, they have to, make use of a lot of their knowledge, a lot of their cognitive skills in order to, to make the question which fits the purpose they want to get from the text, from reading the text.
And then can you tell me about the steps in problem-based, problem-based learning here?
Problem-based learning.
Yeah, the syntax.
The syntax. The syntax first is actually introducing. Sorry, ma'am. There are 4 steps. The first is
actually.
5. Yes, 5 steps. Let the bit forget. So sorry. So first is introducing the problem, preparing. I'm sorry, ma'am. The specific name. I just forgot it. Okay, the first one is mengorganisasi orientasi peserta didik pada masalah, and then after that mengorganisasi peserta didik untuk belajar, like when we need to make a grouping or something like that, and then after that mengembangkan dan menyajikan hasil karya seperti membimbing siswa membuat kesimpulan, and then menganalisis dan mengevaluasi pemecahan masalah, and that's all, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell me in detail about what you are going to do in each of the steps? For example, orientasi peserta didik pada masalah, apa saja yang Anda lakukan di dalam yang dikaitkan
specifically in this
rencana pembelajaran.
Oh, okay. So orientasi peserta didik pada masalah, it means I try to make them to introduce them about the problem they are going to face. So specifically for this lesson, ma'am, I introduce them about the importance of reading skill, and then some strategy, and then what is generating question strategy, and then how it is used, like what kind of text we are going to study, and then why the text is important to be learned, and then how this generating question techniques will be used in understanding the text that we are going to learn, something like that.
It is in the first part, yeah.
Yeah, the first step.
Ya, ini yang akan diajarkan apa, Bu?
Business letter, ma'am.
Business letter. Ya, ini memberikan contoh atau bagaimana?
Pertama, we need building knowledge of the field, starting from asking, checking their prior knowledge, ma'am, asking like, have you ever received any letter? Do you think, have you ever received a business letter? What do you think it looks like? Something like that, ma'am. And then I show one of the example of business letter, something like that.
Hotsnya di mana itu? Hostnya
The
di mana?
host di bagian ini ya, ma'am ya.
Di
I think the hotspot is the student try to use their prior knowledge to analyze the example and to answer my question like jadi business letter itu seperti apa? Oh, I can see they may asking I also ask the difference between personal letter and business letter, for example. So they also analyze the differences and analyzing. I think it's already hot, ma'am.
Jadi menganalisis ini, kemudian mengorganisasikan.
Organizing, okay, ma'am. Because it is a classical, we need to organize the students and problem-based learning. Discussion is very essential. They need to collaborate. So the learning process will be done in group. So one of the activity is grouping, ma'am. So grouping them, I choose in my module Ajar, I choose numbered head together to make it random and heterogeneous. So it's a methods that I will ask my student to count numbers. Like for example, it is 36. I want them to be a group of 4, for example, so I count till 9, something like that. And then after grouping, I'm checking about the devices that we're going to use in this learning process. Like I ask them whether they are ready with their smartphone, with the connection, and LKPD and something like that. That's the mengorganisasi peserta didik, ma'am.
Yeah. So we have to make sure that everybody understands the instructions. Yeah. So
Yes.
How did you group the students about grouping?
Group. I use specific method. It is called numbered head together, ma'am. Numbered head together. That's I often apply this to my class because it's quite simple. So I ask the student to count, like for example, 36 students. I want them to have a group of 4. So I will ask them to count from 1 to 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then all number 1 belongs to one group, all number 2 belongs to the second group, something like that, ma'am. It's quite quick.
That's a number in my head. Yeah.
Yes, number head together.
Yeah. The next one is grouping, ya. Membimbing penyelidikan, ya. Okay, how did you do that?
Excuse me, ma'am, pardon.
The next is here, membimbing penyelidikan, ya. Membimbing penyelidikan individu maupun kelompok, ya. Okay, so
yeah.
Are you going to do with this step?
Okay, so basically in my class in problem-based, they will do a lot of discussion, like searching for example, analyzing the exam text, the text they got, with, of course, with some guidance in the LKPD. And during that kind of activity, I will, move around to check whether the student have done the task correctly, or if they got difficulties. For example, like, can they really make the questions by while they are practicing generating questions, something like that, and checking is the example they got is proper or not, something like that, ma'am. And then is keep on supervising every steps they need to take, something like that, ma'am.
So, this is the steps in membimbing penyediaan individu ya. Guru memantau keterlibatan peserta didik. Oke. Ini kan guru menggunakan kalimat-kalimat yang mendorong peserta didik agar mereka itu terlibat aktif ya. Contohnya bagaimana?
Contohnya, for example, okay. If I want to know if my students have already involved in their group discussion or not, probably I will ask like, how far have you got? Like, do you how many questions have you contributed to your group? Something like that, ma'am. Who find the example? For example, student A, what is your job? Something like that, ma'am. So I will ask like one by one the job description of each group and how far they got, something like that.
Would you also ask the students the problem they face in in doing the project or in solving the problem?
Pardon, ma'am?
Did you also ask? Yeah. Do you also ask students? Yeah. Do you also ask students to the problems they face or something like that?
Yes, ma'am. I also asked about that.
Okay, yeah, it is very crucial for teacher here to ask students, something like what kind of do you have a problem in finishing?
Yes, asking
in finishing.
And we have to be ready to help them if they got difficulties.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That it shows that you are the facilitator in the teaching and learning process, and you are playing a role as their friend, as their collaborator in this case. As you see, remember that the approach in in the recent model of teaching here is that collaboration here, so that in the early years of the teaching methodology here, teacher is becoming the center of the class. Students and also the collaboration between students and teachers. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I have to keep that on my mind too, ma'am. I have to remember. Yeah.
And then mengembangkan dan menyajikan hasil karya.
Yes, ma'am. So at this step, the student try to like writing down the summary or the conclusion of the result of the discussion, especially if it is already arranged in the LKPD, like so. Pada akhirnya, in the end, they have to conclude the answer of the problem I gave at the very beginning. So in this case, it is about business letter. So by having generating question, they have to function, and then the generic structure, the general able to write down that and ready to present the result of their discussion in solving the problem I gave at the beginning. Something like that, ma'am. Pardon, ma'am? Your voice is so soft. Yes. Okay.
Yes, menganalisis dan mengevaluasi proses pemecahan masalah ya.
Yes, ma'am. That was the last.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Oh, at that. Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Menganalisis dan mengevaluasi. First, I will do. I call it confirmation. So after the student have the conclusion of what they have learned, like the social function and structure and etc. And then I give my version of that solution, and we try to like discuss whether it is difficult, it is different or not. We my material that I have and the answer that they get during the problem based learning. So if there is different, of course we're going to discuss. Like misalnya ada bagian yang berbeda. For example, if there is something different parts, so we're going to discuss. So probably the students lack or miss something in their conclusion. So we're going to discuss. So in the end, the whole class will have the same perception of the text, something like that, ma'am. And also evaluation about the process like do you think like how every student participate in their group? Do they have a fair and responsible way in what is it like dividing the job in the group, or do they have difficulties in the job division or not, something like that?
Oh, udah pinjemin.
Pak Fitri.
Yep. Thank you, Bu Ar.
Pak Fitri. Fitri very young.
And yeah, thank you. It's the first time meeting you, Bu Wigati, and I think I'm happy. I think it's the first time of me joining an exam in English of PPG DALJAB, yeah, which is actually cool.
I'm happy too, sir.
Can you hear my voice clearly, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Clear.
So I think it's quite interesting to see your plan. But now, why don't you tell us the aspect of the TPACK, yeah, technological pedagogical content knowledge in practice. I think you plan into something. Can you tell me like briefly?
Of course.
Yeah, please.
So for the technology that I use, so because in my school it is a state school, sir. So there is no LCD projector in every class. So I rarely use PowerPoint actually, but because every student has their own smartphones, so I always use smartphone
you
like
mean
to share material.
Sorry, but are you saying that all the students are allowed to bring their cell phone to school?
Yes, even it's obligatory.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they have to even check in for like checking their attendance using handphones, something like that.
Where do you teach, by the way? It's quite interesting because it's not every school has that one.
SMK Negeri 7 Semarang sih.
Oh, Semarang. Okay. Well, okay. So yeah, go on. And then?
Okay. So I use handphone. I think it is more practical, and yeah, probably only one or two students which got difficulties in that or who didn't bring handphone to the class, but most of them bring their own cell phone, and then it's very practical because there are a lot of application. For example, if I want to use Kahoot, they can just check in into Kahoot. If I want to share material, I just can share it through WhatsApp group, something like that. If they need dictionary, they can go to Google Translate. So it is very practical. So mostly using a handphone with a lot of applications. And even when I want them to make a product or something like a business letter, for example, I want them to make the PDF format, for example. They can even use like Canva or WPS, something like that, and it's very practical. So mostly only handphones.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you, but where did all these PDF file goes in and end up? Where are they going to some drive or where, or just going to your?
So I use a Google Drive. If it is from school, we use Presto, sir. Presto, but basically Presto is for evaluation. But for every teacher, for 12th grader we use Teams, but then for the next
Yeah.
the 11 and 10 graders I use Google Classroom.
Wait,
Google Class.
what class are you teaching? What class are you teaching now? Like what graders?
11 and 10 and 11.
10 and 11 graders.
10
Okay.
and
I'm
11,
thinking
yes.
about Instagram. Have you tried Instagram with them? I mean, in terms of how this technology, I'm actually quite impressed by numbers of application you mentioned here and there. It's quite interesting. I mean, you have
Yeah,
this environment in your school, but let's talk about next. If you're going into the next phase of this PPG, then you need to go into very limited time and resources. Of course, you will go into so much fun application, by the way, but those are becoming
exactly.
only ICT. If you don't frame and wrap it up in procedure activities that actually supporting the learning's goals. So that's why I'm going to ask. Make sure that the apps you are going to use, the video that you prepare, end up at one point helping them, not helping you have fun, but helping them have fun
Yes,
getting
sir.
the goals. Yeah. So it's quite impressive. So
Yes, sir.
if there is a one word for you and your big plan in your next teaching practice, I think it will be to put this into one how do I say accessible point. You say something about drive. I don't know if they can access that happily. Why don't you put on some Instagram or social media that they use, so you can
Yeah,
eliminate this kind of social media into your own classes benefits. Yeah. Because I think I see the potential of your environment and your class setting
yeah.
that
Actually, I
not
did.
every school you did that. So
Yeah, like for example, if the final project or what is it, the project or the what is it, karya
yeah,
is
yeah,
video,
yeah,
I ask them to upload anywhere. If they have YouTube, you
yeah,
can
yeah.
upload it in YouTube or
Mm.
Instagram, and then they just send me the link. Just send me the
Yeah,
link
I think
via
only the
Google.
links.
Yes, it's just the link so I can click them and I can check.
Well,
Sir.
you
So
can actually
it
make
is
it
free
even.
for everyone.
Sorry, I'm overlapping you. You can make this into a higher level of enthusiasm and
Okay.
happiness, and of course, quality of engagement of the student and activity and the school by let them also interact. It's others like giving their opinion in the comment
Ah,
section.
thank you
It's
for the
very. I
idea.
think it will be fun,
Yes.
and you can follow. Try. It's not like they submitting and done. No, they can appreciate one
Yeah,
on
yeah.
another. They can show, hey, I'm speaking English here. This is Miss. We got this assignment, and they can share it to their friend, encouraging. And I think that is actually go beyond because I think you have quite sufficient, sophisticated environment to start with. So why don't you go let them
Yeah, that's
interact?
very good idea, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yes,
and what
thank you,
about
sir.
you?
I will do.
Well, and please, I think that will be fine and fun to be in your PPL, yeah. If you just set it up like that, even if it's just like a limited, but you can actually show that you plan this. Okay, oke anak-anak, sudah diposting kan kemarin di Instagramnya kan, wajib komentar ya, ngasih komentar satu yang baik
Ah,
and
yeah.
whatever in English.
Amazing idea,
Yeah,
sir.
it will be fun and I think they will love it, and I think they love you already. I think, in terms of this, I
I
think,
hope so.
yeah. Bu Wigati, I think, yeah, yeah, this abundance of sources and resources to teach, it's going to help if we are actually going back and consistently referring to our lesson plan and remembering
Yes.
of how and what being of the student in our class, are they motivated or not. And I think, and my questions, my feedback to your uh, lesson plan and all the set will be pretty much more about the spirit. Technically I think will be just fine. I think you're gonna make it to the practice
Thank you very much.
one, I think. But most
Thank
importantly,
you.
we need to see the limit because it's frame, it's limited, and it's PPL. Hopefully, yeah. If you
Yes,
go
I need to
through,
prepare that
yeah.
carefully.
So that will be my biggest recommendation and feedback for you to improve in your teaching quality and lesson plan set. Yeah. Thank you. I think I'm that will be the last from me, Bu Ariati. And I hope I'm not freezing because my connection is unstable now. Kedengeran nggak
You
ya Bu Ar
were
ya?
for some seconds.
Gitu. Thank you Bu Ar,
Yeah,
Bu
you were.
Wiga.
Yeah.
Ya, all the best. Congrats ya Bu Wigati. Uh,
Thank you, Mr. Fitri.
yeah, you're
Thank you very
welcome.
much for the idea too.
Yeah, but I'm still asking you because we have to we still have much time, Pak Fitri, so
Yeah.
that we still have and then
Only Bu Haryati after this, ma'am.
Okay.
I know, but you
Yes.
see that actually for one student here that it takes for about 50 minutes. So
Yeah.
So how
yeah,
much
Yes,
time
ma'am.
do we still have, Bu Ar?
Apa?
For how much time do we have still now for Bu
Okay,
Wigati?
so we still have we got it is about 10 minutes,
Oh,
yeah.
10 minutes is
It's about
long. Let's use the 10
Is
minutes.
that 10? Oh.
okay. So but actually I still have several questions related
Go ahead, Bu Ar.
the foundation, yeah, for the
Yes, ma'am.
preparation for PPL, yeah, for
Okay, ma'am.
apprenticeship, yeah. So about this is more on the media use, yeah. So what kind of media you are going to apply it for the teaching? Can you
For
demonstrate it now?
ma'am.
It's one of them. Is it okay, Pak Fitri?
Yep.
Yeah,
No problem. No problem.
yeah,
Pardon,
okay.
ma'am?
Ya, can you demonstrate? Coba tunjukkan salah satu media yang bisa digunakan, yang akan Anda gunakan nanti.
PPL, yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
PPL, so I plan to use my second module ajar.
Oh,
I will use,
Yeah.
modul.
yeah.
The media?
The media I use Kahoot, ma'am, for
Kahoot, okay.
formative
Yeah.
test.
Kahoot.
For the formative test. Yeah, and then I plan to record my PPL in Lab Bahasa. So I have PowerPoint. I have LCD projector there.
Okay.
And
Can you tell me about the question? So did you ask questions to the students through Kahoot? Yeah.
Kahoot, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Can you show us the questions? What are the questions?
The question.
Yeah.
Should I share or something like that, ma'am? Or should I read?
Yeah, it's okay. Share juga boleh, nggak
I
apa-apa.
think
Nanti
sharing
kamu akan-
still okay. We still got like more or less 10 minutes. It's a long
Okay.
time. Sharing in a minute you can share too.
Okay, wait, ma'am. I'll find out my module ajar, my second one.
Pak Fitri, habis ini kita diskusi dulu, tetapi lewat WA saja ya.
Siap Bu.
Kalau ini sudah selesai.
Masih satu kan Bu ya habis ini ya. Siap.
Yes. Okay. Okay, this is my second module ajar, ma'am.
Yes.
Semarang, okay.
It is menyimak berbicara. So the final product is video. And wait, the Kahoot. The Kahoot will be for formative test, ma'am. The use of present tense, adjectives, and degree of comparison in describing things.
The question. What are
Yes.
the questions?
This one, I'm sorry. Di KPD bawah ini take turn game and then This one, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one I will
Screwdriver.
use Kahoot.
Screwdriver. Okay.
Yeah. This is for 10 graders. The material is describing thing, and the topic is about the things related to their department. They are from mechatronics.
Nggak terlalu mudah itu.
Gimana, ma'am?
Nggak terlalu mudah itu.
Yeah, I just want. That's why this is formative test, ma'am. I just wanna in the material. So we are going to use like present tense, and then the use of adjective and degree of comparison in describing tools on or instruments related to their department. So this is like I want to know whether they already comprehend this or not, something like that. So this is the present tense, and then the second one is the adjectives. Some adjective in series, sir. Ya, masih kelas 10 memang.
Green, big yellow.
Ya, kelas
big
10.
Green, yellow. My uncle.
And kalau di Kahoot itu kan very limited time, only couple of seconds, ma'am. Probably ini akan hektik sih buat mereka untuk milihnya gitu.
Yeah.
Only
Like
Time-nya
less than 30 seconds ya Kahoot ya. It's
Yes.
fun because we'll be running. But yeah, for Kahoot it's good. I mean, yeah, but for real kayaknya cukup ini
too easy.
Gak yang
This one.
Scroll down please. Let's see the button.
Evaluasi. Ya. Ini kan yang di Kahoot nih. Yang Kahoot ini di awal pembelajaran.
Iya, ma'am. Di apa namanya? Setelah saya menanyakan, do you still remember like adjective and then present tense? So I use this test.
Oh, ini untuk diagnostik ya, untuk pemetaan.
Iya, pengetahuan awal. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so how about the evaluation? Evaluasi ini kan kalau yang untuk awal ya. Kalau evaluasinya seperti apa?
Kan itu speaking ya, ma'am. This is the output is speaking. So wait, ma'am. It is in the LKPD, wait, ma'am. So it's included in the project, ma'am. So wait, sorry. This is the first one is this is the building knowledge of the field. I'm going to show them a video and then write down all the sentences which express description. So maybe they got a lot of mistake here. That's fine. So this is also for early activities, ma'am. And after that, the second one is take turn game. This is the solution of my second problem actually, ma'am. So my first problem is reading activities, reading comprehension, like what I've told you a couple minutes ago. And the second one is for the 10th grader. There are many students who are shy to participate in speaking class, especially. So I come up with take turn game. So I show them picture, and then I divide them into several group, and they are obliged to make one description until only one group standing, something like that, ma'am. That's for the participation. And then the third one, the formative text, that using Kahoot, I have just shown you. And this one is the project making, ma'am. Jadi ini evaluasinya di sini, ma'am. So they're going to discuss and decide the thing they are going to describe, and then analyze the capability of each member, the described decide what kind of job they're going to get, because it is in group. And I think it is okay if not everyone have the same capability. Mungkin ada yang memang pintar edit video, dia akan dapat porsi lebih banyak bekerja di edit video. Yang bahasa Inggrisnya advance, mereka bisa di pembuatan teks. Untuk yang pronunciation-nya bagus bisa di yang di shoot atau yang masuk ke video, something like that, man. This is the the steps. Ini mereka juga harus bikin jadwal pembuatan projectnya, ma'am, because this includes in the syntax of project-based learning. Kemudian ini teks yang akan mereka bawakan nanti di dalam video. And the next is proceed the activities according to the schedule. Lalu upload the video in an online platform, submit the link to Google Form. Ini aspek dan kriteria prosesnya sama projectnya, ma'am. Something like this.
Yeah. Okay, Ibu. Thank you. Widati, it's good.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the last, can you
Yes,
make
ma'am.
a reflection about what we are discussing right now?
Right now, in this ujian, ma'am?
Yeah. Can you make
Okay.
a reflection?
The whole pic in a nutshell, yeah. The whole pack in a nutshell. The things that you think
Yeah, ma'am.
essential, please.
Yeah, I think this test or ujian ini, this is very useful, showing me that ternyata saya sudah ada beberapa hal yang sudah saya lakukan. I have done many things, but there are still something I need to develop. I have very good idea from Pak Fitri, and also I have Bu Ar also reminds me of a lot of things, kayak harusnya seperti apa, bagaimana jika seperti ini. And thank you Bu Ar for confirming nanti harus bagaimana. Tadinya saya belum siap Bu Ar, kayak PPL-nya kayak apa. Kalau Bu Ar tanya kali ini, ya I need to prepare it better. So it's really beneficial for me to proceed to the next to the next agenda, which is PPL, Bu Ar. Thank you very much, Bu Ar and Pak Fitri.
You're welcome, Bu Wigati.
You have to prepare everything well, before joining the internship, internship,
Yes.
Pak.
Yeah.
Pak Fitri, apprenticeship actually. Yes, and then I think that's all, Pak Fitri.
Yeah, that's
Thank
all.
you, Bu Wigati. Good luck.
Alhamdulillah.
Wish you all the
thank you
best,
very
yeah.
much.
Yeah, wish you all the
Thank you
very
very
best,
much,
Bu
Pak
Wigati.
Fitri, Bu Ar.
Nice knowing you and meeting you today.
It's nice to
Semoga
meet you
lancar.
too.
Semoga lancar semuanya.
Amin.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih, Pak Fitri, Bu Ar.
Sama-sama, Bu Wigati.
Should I leave?
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
please.
Yes, thank you.